Oh,
selling.
that's good. Blathering on about selling?
Selling stuff internally.
Oh, selling stuff internally. Welcome to Get Into Market, where your job is real and your role is negotiable.
Has it started? I missed the countdown.
Oh my gosh. And I'm the one not paying attention. This is where we
Yeah.
go. Your job is real, your role is negotiable, and your coworkers are fungible. That's what I'm going to say about
Yeah.
you. If this is that work environment, you are the fungible coworker. You're welcome.
I put the fun in fungible. Yeah.
Ooh, do you want to play a game called What's the Latest Email You Got in Your Gmail?
Oh, sure.
No, you can't filter it.
I was trying to just find it. Oh, okay. Here's mine. You ready?
I am ready.
PhD Swim School. We want to wish your family a happy Thanksgiving. By the way, big fan of PhD Swim School. You can sponsor us.
Shout out.
Got our daughter to basically she's swimming now, just a couple months into the lessons.
You seem like the type of parent that would do that swimming lesson where you just throw an infant into the pool and hope for the best. Have you seen these?
How else do you learn, John, than doing?
Just going out full send. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I did. There's also this, what was it? It was an article. It was about this new parenting method that's just like the FAFO on their own, which the opposite of helicopter parenting.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Is this the, like how millennials just like to rebrand things that already exist? Is this that where we just found new names for how we were raised? Go out until the sun goes down, and then come home.
Where I think the difference is I think our parents did not view that as FAFO. It was just the norm.
Yeah.
Where it was why would I helicopter? What? That sounds like a lot of work. Let's just not do that.
Do you know Kick the Can? Did you play that game growing up?
Did I kick a can? What century did you grow up in?
I think you've made this observation. It's a night game. Do you know night games? I'm trying to find out how regional this is.
No, I don't. Are you Amish and I am just learning this now?
Man, this game, it was so much fun. So I grew up on a cul-de-sac, and so there was, we'll say 10 kids around, kind of in the general, however many, 30, 40 house radius around the area. So we would get together and play night games. So I remember going to my friend's houses, knocking on the door. Hey, can Nate come and play night games? That was how you would refer to it. And one of the night games was Kick the Can. And so it's essentially hide and go seek. You put a can in the front of someone's driveway, in the middle of the driveway where the floodlights on the garage would light it up. And then,
so you had electricity. Okay, I'm tracking.
Yep, had electricity. So they were that far. And then someone was and they would basically try to defend the can. And then, what do you think everyone else would try to do, Nate? You're a smart person.
Kick the can.
Kick the can. And you would run from hiding and then try to kick it. And if the person that was tagged you had to go sit on the porch. And I forgot it. It's just now coming back to me. If you did something, then everyone on the porch would get to go free, but we would yell "Ollie Ollie oxen free," and then everyone could run away. And there was a reset.
Was there a stump you would go and kick if a can wasn't available?
We have to bring our own stump. Someone's gonna bring their own stump. Nate forgot his stump. Now we gotta find a new one. It was old Folgers cans. We'd kick them.
I remember as a kid one time we used to play tackle football in the neighborhood. We had this little area up in the neighborhood where it was football shaped enough or field shaped enough. And I remember it was in middle school and I got tackled and literally thought I'd dislocated my shoulder. I could not move my arm for a little bit. And I was I think we have outgrown the ability to play this game.
Yep.
We've gotten
New
too
games.
old to be able to if we can hit each other this hard, we've got to come up with a new thing to do. Today's episode is a more like John episode, which is how do you... This does just sound like you. If you were to say who's going to be the one that has more opinions on this, everyone's going to say you. Selling an idea internally within your organization is the topic of today's episode. And one of the things that I think is interesting about this is it could be any number of things. So when we first were banding this idea about, my thing was sometimes you need to add something to your tech stack. And so you need to sell that idea internally. And other times for you, I think where the genesis of this idea came from was more around the idea of where you're taking a product or the new innovations that you want the organization to throw money behind.
Yeah, they are different. Like a new idea could just be a process. Like, hey, I noticed that we did this thing and it's a little bit weird. Can we do that differently? But a product and new capability, especially for a product manager, there's a good bit of that's what you're responsible to do is to help sell an idea and kind of get people excited and get people interested in whatever that idea is. I mean, are you creating new ideas? Are you making more process type ideas? What are the situations you would have to sell an idea?
Probably more just on the process piece. I was curious your thoughts on, so is this like the companion episode to the politics episode insofar as anytime you're having to sell something, you're kind of having to do the politicking internally. And in that vein, when I think about it from a product marketing perspective, you're building a business case that's like the basis for what you're justifying, or how you're justifying it is by way of a business case. Is that how you think about it as you're trying to sell something?
It's funny that you brought that up because I was thinking about that. I was like, I almost re-listened to that episode. I'd be like, what did I say? Other than I just hate doing this stuff. It is a very similar idea. I was thinking through like, how do I go about doing that? How do I sell? And part of it depends on the audience. And you can just say to people, "This is what we're doing." Like if they're looking for just clarity and direction, especially if it's a process thing. How I found success in getting those things, kind of those processes changed, is to then find a champion or somebody specifically that I can work with to say like, hey, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
This is where we want to go. And they can help with that. When it's a new product idea, that's a little bit trickier. And actually, you said this to me once, and this is probably the most articulate way that I've thought about it, but it's just the what's in it for them sort of idea, where if you're going to have success selling an idea, you got to know all the different players that you need to work with and what their current world is like. And then you can start articulating what's in it for them. But if you can't start with, hey, we got this thing, here's what I observed, here's what I think can be helpful, you're never really going to get anywhere. Is that what you meant by that? Like the what's in it for me type of idea?
Yeah. Which is great, because I think this gives us an opportunity to dig into something maybe we haven't talked as much about. So on the one hand, you have the objective, like this is why we need to do this thing. It has like, and I'm going to like quantify the benefits that come out of it. The other component that I think you have to build, or at least understand, is really like an empathy component. And so as you're selling it, I think the ability to kind of empathize with where someone else is coming from and the objections they might have to it, and your build of like handling those objections requires empathy. And empathy, we haven't really talked about maybe as much explicitly, is a really helpful skill to have. Aside from just making you less of a nightmare to work with, it's effective, right? Like, I think there are studies out now that talk about how like emotional intelligence is helpful to advancing and getting promotions and that sort of thing. So I'm curious, like how you leverage the emotional intelligence or like empathy part to getting that across the line.
How I've done it is, I think this is How to Win Friends and Influence People, that Dale Carnegie book. It's almost like delay sharing what you want to get done until they feel like you know what their world is like. And if you get to the spot where you can share your idea, great. But, for the first little bit, as you're building that empathy, you can't just say like, well, because we're doing this for customers. And even, there's one element of, you can be really articulate about who that customer is, or sometimes product managers, not myself, obviously, just weaponize customer. Oh, the customer needs this, the customer this. But that's not enough. And maybe utopian wise, it should be enough, but it very rarely is.
Well, you can have a good product that doesn't sell, right? And
yes,
so
absolutely,
even if it is good for the customer, that doesn't translate to revenue. And your ability to kind of connect and explain how what you're trying to do is a benefit to the customer, but the real benefit to the organization is revenue, I think is a key part of that. Another thing that I think you hinted at, but maybe we should click down on, is the idea that being able to do this effectively is really hard if you're just starting at this org. You talked about kind of like knowing the different groups that are going to be involved, getting the lay of the land for who owns what and their role in all of those things, and how you would actually get something across the line with that's a new initiative. It does help to kind of know the person and what their remit is, what they're being held to goals wise. And all of that is stuff that is not things that you pick up in your first and only call with someone in your first week, right?
Yeah. I had a negative experience that I got. I mean, I thankfully didn't say anything stupid, much to your surprise, I'm sure. But just I saw someone's title and I assumed that that title meant the same here as it does there.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case. And so
Yeah.
just that idea of, like it's really hard to know that you have the empathy or know that you can have that will be effective. I did put down data as how you keep selling it. It's really hard to win, and it's really easy. Data makes it really easy to not be emotional about the outcome. It's just like, here's what it is. This is what the data says. And so when selling an idea and trying to get others excited about the idea, having the data is never going to hurt you.
In addition to that is a new dimension to having the data, showing the data. It is like the warning of don't just use AI to visualize and to analyze that data. Add a kind of human element of quality assurance to the analysis of that and how you want to visualize it. I think it's very easy now to dump a bunch of data in, kind of have AI build that case for you, and you just share it out. To your AI swear jar idea, the idea that it can help you formulate like some of the basis for your analysis and like showing you where to kind of dig in further, but avoid the temptation of leaning wholly into I'm going to just hit control print and control P, whatever, command
Full
P,
send.
full send on just an AI regurgitation of a large data set.
The last thing, just in building or selling an idea, rather, this is probably where I'm better at, or at least this is whether or not I'm good at it is for other people to decide, I suppose. I enjoy this part a lot, but just building the excitement and building the vision and sharing, here's what's happening, here's what could be. If we execute on that, being very kind of descriptive about the long-term state that might mean and what this might mean for us in whatever we're trying to do. If it's just like, hey, build empathy and understand and then communicate what's in it for them and then get the data, back it up, then that starts the flywheel spinning. And that whole idea of like how you build excitement and how you get momentum to actually execute an idea, because it's not just about selling it but about getting that thing to fruition. That sort of just regularly, like, here's what it looks like, build the vision for the future over and over and over again, gets the flywheel spinning and ultimately gets your idea implemented and driven and moving forward. I like that part a lot, and so maybe that's why it's last in my order.
Yeah. Is it an inherently risky venture to kind of tie your name to this thing you're selling?
Yes. It doesn't sound like you were challenging that there's risk there. You're just bringing it up.
Yeah, well, I think it's an important thing to think about too, which is depending on your role within the organization, because I do think some of this is, and I'm not trying to take a dig at you, but you are at a certain level where it's one kind of partially expected that you do take this risk, right? It is part of your job to kind of take these measured risks. But two, if you aren't at that level, it's kind of one, inherently riskier. It's two, probably a little harder. And three, if you really want to do it, it's probably helpful for you to be passionate about it. And so
Sure.
I think that's another element is if you're willing to like stake your name to it, hopefully it's something that you're really bought in on, because it's not going to be an easy path, and you're likely to encounter resistance from folks that can probably affect like a performance review. And so it isn't just like, can you do it? It's, do you want to do it badly enough? And so thinking through sort of that math.
Have you bought an idea, so to speak, from someone that you didn't think was excited about it? Like, have you been on the other end of that where you're like, I gotta do this thing. They have an idea, but they're not that into it?
I'm trying to think of what the specific part was, but I feel like there's a kind of dip in enthusiasm when you're like adopting a new part of a tech stack or new software that you're sort of trying to adopt for the larger part of the org, where someone like has the idea, they get really excited, they go through the procurement process, which is often very painful. You get the product, and now you're stuck with trying to get everyone to adopt it, and your name is now tied to whether or not people adopt this expensive thing. And so, one, like their name is tied to something that they don't entirely own the quality of, right? Like it might not deliver everything that they were sold on. That happens sadly. And then two, it is like, it wasn't necessarily a passion project for them either, but their name is now attached to it, so they got to drive adoption of it. I've been in that role of like, hey, this thing seemed really exciting. Oh, now that we're like taking the rosy tinted glasses off, it's not everything that we thought it was going to be, but I still need to be really pumped about it for other folks to be able to adopt it. And so it's it can be kind of an uncomfortable position to be in, I think, especially if it's not the passion project piece, and it just becomes something that your name is tied to.
Yeah, that's a good example, because let's just say, if this is, I don't know if this is the exact example, but you find a process that's broken, you find a tool that can fix it, it solves a very real need for you, and you're in a position where you can procure that or get that into the org. And then like, well, I didn't want to also get everyone else excited about it. I just wanted to solve a thing for me and my 10 people. And now I got to do that too. And I'm sure that happens a lot.
And this will give us like a little bit of a detour thing to talk about. But I remember specifically, we were running into some roadblocks. I won't say what the product was. It was a fine product, but I won't name it. We were having some problems implementing it. It was becoming like a bit of a headache. And so we were just kind of like, every time the customer success person would reach out and just be like, hey, check it in, see how things going. Like they'd set up one-on-one time. It was like the call you did not want to take, because it felt almost like nagging at that point, because it was like calling us out on like not having gotten it done. They were very persistent about it. So they're probably a good customer success manager.
What'd you learn this week, Nate? Did you learn anything? You said at the beginning that you're not even ready.
I never learn anything. So here's my lesson learned is something that I've just been thinking about, and I was curious for your thoughts on it, which is there's all sorts of like B2B products that are like SMB focused or whatever. They're not super expensive, but you do have to like work with a salesperson to get. I was curious at an individual level, what is the most you're willing to spend without talking to someone, or is there a threshold where you're like, there's no way I would even consider buying this if I have to talk to a salesperson, if it's below this amount?
That's a good question. I've only thought of ways that I've tried to push the boundaries. So one time there was a potential that we needed to borrow some money from my parents, and we ended up not needing the money for what we thought it was, and so I had to pay it back. And I was like, I wonder if I can Apple Pay my dad this amount of money. Like what the limit is. It's $1,000, by the way.
That's it? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So each transaction. And so then my thought was like, well, would I do this the number of times I need to? And I didn't. And that was good, because, that would have been probably annoying. I mean, I love the fact that you can buy a car without ever talking.
That was going to be my example of one that kind of made me nervous. Was we bought a car through Carvana. I don't really want to sponsor them. It went fine, but it was a nerve-wracking experience of just like, you're just filling out shit online, and you eventually end up paying a bunch of money and have a car. Felt a little nerve-wracking. At the same time, who enjoys working with a salesperson to buy a car?
Zero people.
But there is like some assurance in there being like a human interface to that interaction and transaction.
Would you buy a house? Like, is there a world that you would move to a new home you've never seen? Let's just say you were the type of person that you didn't need to see it, but would you transact online to buy a house?
Could you still do a home inspection with a person?
I think so. Like, this is where I don't know that there's a dollar limit to what I would or wouldn't. When you, like your original question about, kind of B2C type stuff, I don't know that I want to talk to many people about buying, in that process.
Okay, wait. Can we also talk about how you are kind of a fake extrovert?
Yeah, I'm a faker.
In all these examples, I would expect an extrovert to actually be willing and open to talking to a human being.
I don't like being sold on stuff. I think that's it. Of just like, I'm going to convince you why you need this thing. And when I sense that their main motive is to have me spend more money,
when it feels transactional.
Yeah. Yep. Transactional relationships in general. My wife, when she feels pressured to spend money, she goes the total opposite way too. So she's like, "Nah, we'll just not." So, which can be good or bad. If you remember, we had the unique opportunity to buy a heat pump, no new HVAC, and just like, if you do this right now, it'll be this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are sales reps that have lost deals, and just kind of that pressure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that this amount of money. I would absolutely buy a car online. I thought that'd be kind of funny. The joke of it is, like kind of funny to me, where I could be gone and swap out my wife's car without her even knowing.
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny.
Yeah.
I did think like with Zillow and that sort of stuff, and be able to do like them. I think they're trying to become a lender, or they were. I don't know if they are anymore, but that I was like, I think I would do that entirely online. Like, I don't have to talk to anyone. I don't have to whatever. I can, from an app, apply, purchase, say what you want about Tesla, but the entire ability to get a car without having to talk to somebody, like that whole thing they started, and I'm here for it 1000%.
Yeah. What's your lesson learned?
I learned that, so my wife is an instructional designer, has her master's in it, and I learned that the whole concept of visual learner versus auditory learner or others is not true. There's no scientific basis behind any of that at all. The quote that I found, these studies have not used the type of randomized search designs that would make their findings credible. So while there is an element of, like, we were talking about this with some friends the other day, that's where I learned it. So while it seems like, while there is an element of, you build habits for how you learn things more easily or more simply, and so you can habitually become someone who learns. Yeah. But there's no scientific backing behind someone being kind of more naturally one versus the other. That's just not a thing.
What about like hands-on learning? No?
Sounds like no.
Disagree with the data there, I guess.
It's because you're a little handsy.
That probably not it. Now I regret not making the joke about you and Elon. Oh well. Anyways, we are here every Tuesday. Get into Market. Catch us wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube. You can send us feedback at gettintomarket at gettintomarketpod@gmail.com. I got it.
You got it.
Edit out the wrong one. But yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks for listening. See you. Bye.